Good morning, people. Good morning. Yes, good morning. Good morning. The time is about uh, 5:30 something in the morning. I think 5:38 in the morning. Yes, it's very quiet out here. I awakened not too long ago, and no vision today. No vision right now. Sometimes when I just wake up, I just wake up. I don't go through the process. Um, yeah, the one that I had the other day was very different. Yeah, remember yesterday I did the live stream late in the day. I didn't when I woke up. Ah, yeah. So I think it was today's Tuesday. I did go out yesterday in the rain. It was drizzling. Yes. Good morning, viewer. Good morning. Welcome to the chat room. So, what do I want to talk about today? Well, as you guys know, I like watching my YouTube too much. Um, I was watching something that interests me. Um, I touched on the issue before. Again, this is a journey that I'm on, and some of the things that I see, I don't understand. And the thing about being rich, the status of rich, what makes people rich, is very, very confusing. I was watching, I think for a second or third day, these documentaries on the what they call the super rich. These are, let's see, some of them were, you know, um, people from the Middle East, and they primarily get their money from the oil trade. Some of them they had like they might show the children of people in the oil industry, crude oil industry, reckless. They had these super fast, super expensive cars, primarily the male that go on drag races and things like that. They get these fast cars in Monte Carlo. I'm sorry, in what do you call it, Monaco, and they drive around. Now you can't really drive far in Monaco because it's all winding roads and everything. But they were driving. I don't know why you get a real fast car and you can't drive it but so long because the roads are winding and everything. And they showed a car accident. They were making a turn and they were making a right turn, and they got pinned between two cars. They're trying to go through, and the space in between the two cars from on the left and right side wasn't wide enough for them, and they just crashed into several cars. Reckless. Wow, that's money for you care, when you don't care that your car is all mashed up. And when you to try to get parts for those cars, it's going to cost an arm and a leg. But they don't care because they don't have to pay for it, right? And for me, the concept, like in this live stream, I'm really going to address the contrast between someone with my pockets, which is extremely lean, but I'm comfortable. I have food, shelter, I have good health. But it's really through my perspective on things and things that I've seen in contrast to others, which lead me to ask these questions about myself. Sorry. I know what it costs to get something repaired, and I know what it is to be a woman. People see it's glitching already. See that? So, anyway, what I was saying, I know what it's like to have a car and a new driver, and um, I feel forced to get a car because you try to take a taxi, and the taxi drivers try to assault you. Well, they try to get fresh with you. These elderly men, taxi drivers, and they grab on you and they start kissing on you, and the fear that could happen that happens. Yeah, my first day in it could have been, no, it's the second day. Like I arrived, and then maybe the next morning I had to go to an appointment to look at an apartment. Yeah, when I moved to the West Indies, I moved alone. Um, I had come out of the military maybe 6 months prior, and I was just trying to get reestablished in the civilian world. And that happened to me. That's violence. That is a form of violence of you know when men do that to you. So and again, I didn't know how to drive, so I had to learn how to drive, how to get lessons, but I first had to get a job. So I did get the job first, try to save money, and you feel vulnerable. So when it took a while for me to get my driver's license and then shop for a car, um, yeah, you're dependent on other people. So these rich people don't have the fear of not have, they have. They don't have that fear. And they know if they get in an accident that their families will pay for a new one, and that the families are enablers, and they enable their children to go out and parade out there and spend money because it's status for the parent. Said, look, that's my kid. Each level, each hierarchy. Wealth is a hierarchy that keeps up the illusion of wealth and power. So the kids are just as valuable in the sense that they spend the money that their families have. So in the circle of the children, they get that status. My family has more than you. My family is bigger than yours. And this war goes on and on and on. And the kids play their part in it. The kids wear the trendy clothes, the cars, and all that. And then the recklessness. Yeah, so for me, in my perception on life, hey, you get a car, be very appreciative. I was very appreciative when I had a car. And yeah, I was one of those nervous drivers. I was. I was. But I was like super careful. I was so aware that this car is powerful. I mean, I had an old car. My car was 13 years old at the time, and it needed repair. I knew when I got the car that it needed repair, and you just go get it fixed. Well, if you're a woman, you don't have that luxury to bring a car in and the guys fixed it. Because some establishments are prejudiced, I should say biased, against females who own cars in the West Indies. So much for black on black love. Yeah, it's a lot of money. And when they don't repair it, the car potentially could be hazardous. They wouldn't repair it. I had to get like a filter, and they took out the filter, but they didn't put a new one in. They put nothing inside, absolutely nothing. Sorry, it's glitch. It was buffering again. So that's what they did, and they did other things. And then they went on a joyride with my car. They drove 100 miles with my car. And when I had come back from vacation, I was away for, I think it was 2 weeks. Came back on that island, and my car was in a mashup. One of the so called helpers in the shop went on a joyride, got in an accident with my car, a bad one on the side. The mashup was, I guess it got T-boned or something. It like scraped along the length of the car, and the car was at the what do you call it, the garage. And when I came back, I see I just something told me just look at the car, and they were looking funny at me when I arrived. And then I see a big mashup. I said, just fix it. Just fix it. Oh, first they said, oh, you mean uh, you didn't leave the car like this? And that's when I got angry. I said, just fix it. So they tried to spin it off that uh, the car was already in an accident, and maybe I got in an accident. And they didn't want to fix their, yeah, see how I know they went on 100 miles. So I kept, see, the car had bad problems, a leak. And so I had to keep a log of how much mileage the car rode, because it has the mileage, the meter on it, to let you know how many miles the car, from A to B. And I keep a record anytime that I had to fill up the car with gas, gasoline. And so I always see whether the mileage is getting lower or higher. So when I had the my log inside the glove compartment, when I checked, I see it's 100 miles extra on it since the last time I did it. Oh yes, I brought them to court, and the first time they didn't show up for court, then I had to go again, and then that time they had a representative, and eventually they paid. So that's my attitude about cars. And also, I know of someone who had gotten hit by a car uh, early in my life, and that they could have died. It was a serious car accident. So I learned early in life that cars are not toys, and that you can get killed in a car accident. You can get hit by a car or be inside a car and get in a terrible accident, and you can die. So I have this fear of driving, I think. I don't know. I have a fear of, I have an understanding about this thing called a car, a vehicle, and that you better respect your car. So I'm baffled at the rich, these young rich kids. Well, I should say that the, the, the kids of the rich who are reckless. Let them try to get pay for their car bill. If you buy a car, and if it's not paid off, and you forget to pay or you don't have enough money to pay, skip a bill. Did you know that the repo man can confiscate your car? Yeah, they can confiscate it. Oh, you didn't pay your bill? Let's take the car. We're going to repossess the car, people. And I know of someone on that island that got their car repossessed. They didn't care that he had to use his car to try to find work and all that. They don't care. Let these young people learn. Yeah, it's a quick lesson. You don't pay the bills? Well, Repo Man is going to get it. So let your children know the significance and the big responsibility of owning a car because it could cause somebody's death. If you don't pay it, the repo man can get it. And let's say if you're a woman and you need to get to work, and what can happen to you, you can get assaulted because you're a woman uh, waiting for the bus, or you might have children you need to get to drop them off for school and then get to your job or school with all these things. See, that's what I learned about with cars, vehicles. And that was through my eyes when I saw these kids um, driving recklessly with their car. Probably none of those things they ever experienced. They never experienced bringing the car in the and they don't fix it. See, when you're in the super rich, I presume that your reputation and you bring these cars in, and let's say I brought this fancy car in. Let's say the car is $200,000, and you bring your car in to be repaired. You don't repair it, your reputation. See, that person that owns that type of car, they can always go to another dealership, and everything seems to be about gossip and hearsay. So you're in town, and you're the mechanic, and you're in town. Your bread and butter is based on these rich people doing business with you. Now they have, say on someone of my caliber, which is a fraction, right? I'm just a regular, you know, just a regular person. You have very modest pockets. And when I come in for the same service, they don't have respect for my money. Sorry about that. Glitching again. So the status between the rich and the poor is a psychological one. That's the main thing I learned in that example about the rich and the poor, the illusions of wealth and poverty. Now, is it money green? The money is money, and the poor usually pays more for the same service. So what is it if the poor pay more for what they're getting? So why the poor disrespected? Because the illusion of wealth versus poverty. That there is a race out there, and a race of the illusion that everybody's fighting to get to. People are fighting to be on top. You've heard that before. You're fighting to be on top of the game. And they're crabs trying to get out of a barrel. And they're climbing on each other to get out. And the illusions that's on the top, see what those lobsters don't know, they might be crawling out of the pot, the barrel, but when they climb out, they can actually fall in a pit of sharks and get eaten. They don't realize that. And that's what the illusion about the wealth and the poverty. That everybody thinks that there's something on top. This paradise of paradise of wealth. But the word status is a big part of the illusion that carries it. So going further with the story now, with the rich and the poor, that was just one example. I didn't know I was going to go into that detail with regarding a vehicle, but it's just exploring the contrast, my life and the super rich. With this Monaco, this the rich of Monaco now are younger. Their ages from the 30s and 40s, while in the past it was people in their late 50s and up. So you have the old school of Monaco, and yeah, they look older. I mean, the old guard, the old money there. So they maintain its status though. The older population, they're being their 60s now, some of the 70s, and you just look at them. They have their clothing, they have the clothes, and they have the shops that are catering to them also. A lot of cafes. Yeah, a lot of places for them to spend their money. Yeah, in Monaco, there's no income tax for the people that legally live there. And who decides who becomes a citizen of that principality is Prince Albert. And yes, I discussed about Prince Albert, and there's allusions about him too, and the family there. Yeah, I had like Prince. Yeah, I told you guys that Prince Albert looks like a college professor that I had. That all the ladies seemed to have a crush on too. Yes, I like Prince Albert. Um, yeah, and they all are in the illusions of wealth and power and all that, and he has his story too. But anyways, so the old money that put Monaco on the table. A lot of royalty might go visit, go spend winters there because it's warm all year. It's right on what do you call the French Riviera, the southern portion of France. Um, they said it really started picking up, and then yeah, see initially, Monaco didn't have anything to stand on. Uh, that I was surprised. I thought it was always wealthy. No, it was a poor place. And then the documentary said in 18 the 1890s it could have been eight years. This is going way back. In the 1890s around, they built a gambling casino called the Monte Carlo. Wow, it was really, really ornate. Really ornate. I think you call it Baroque style, architecture. And, everything's gilded and polished. It's really ornate, very fancy. And that attracted people who want to gamble. And it was a good investment in the sense that it attracted many people. What would later uh, put Monaco on visibility status. And so then you have these old god Europeans that hang out there, but it's still it still wasn't really anything according to the documentary until it needed more help, and that's when Hollywood came in. Hollywood came in the form of Grace Kelly, a very pretty white American woman who was an actress, and she had hooked up with Prince Rainier, and they had it. televised. Yeah, that's my little doggy snoring. Sorry about that. And that attracted, see, Hollywood is the king of illusions. And Monaco needed a facelift, so to speak. It didn't have anything going for it to keep it afloat. And it was a piece of land about the size of Central Park. It's a piece of land in the south of France. And France had asked for this royalty family, whether you want to, to get reestablished, I think it was. I remember hearing something like that. Yes. Good morning, Crystal. Yes. Good morning, good morning. Yes, and just talk about the contrast of the rich and the poor and using uh, the south of France, Monaco as an example. Yeah. Um, so, yes, they had to work fast. Yes, I'm doing good, Crystal. I'm doing well, bright eyed and bushy tail. Yes. The weather has been cold in New York City, where I live, and rainy. Yeah, it rained. It was raining on me yesterday. I thought the rain had stopped, and I had brought out my dogs to go for walks, so we didn't stay long. I went to my destination and came right back, basically. So yeah, because we've been cooped up inside. Yeah, I don't like. I guess with the things that are out there, the path that you know, with the pandemic, I don't want to really risk certain things. Yeah, that's my little doggy. Yeah, that's my little girl. That's a little Lilac. Lilac the Shih Tzu. She sleeps all day. So, yeah, she's a sweetie. Yeah. Okay, I just woke her up. I'm sorry. I just wanted to nudge you. I'm sorry, baby. Yes, but I'm looking at you. I'm looking at you. You bad girl. I love you, Lilac. I love that little pumpkin. Okay, sorry about that. So, so Monaco, and I talked about this the other day about Monaco. They needed a quick facelift. They needed some PR, public relations. So they used Hollywood to boost up the illusion of Monaco. Yeah, these rich people, see, some people just have a name, but they have no money. They didn't have money to carry them. So everybody's like walking around like they're important, but they don't have a pot to piss in. But they had the illusion called status. There are some people who have status, but they do not have money. And so Hollywood was borrowed and they arranged a wedding between the prince, Prince Rainier, and Prince Kelly. I'm sorry, um, what's her name? Grace Kelly. Her name is Grace Kelly, a famous actress. Yeah, Princess Grace of Monaco. And so, like with Hollywood, they could get any poor person. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, we're back on. See that certain words, you notice when I say certain words that it glitches? So it didn't like that one. Yeah, she was a strikingly beautiful looking woman. But she's an actress. That's all she is. And she played the part of a princess. And she played the part very well. Yeah. And she was convincing. And so that attracted Hollywood to go spend their money, and then the illusion that Hollywood gives people, it gives them the ability of, well, I'm so and so, bankers loan me some money. So you don't think people were able to uh, ask for a loan, get loans, start business opportunity because they're friends of so and so. So it started picking up momentum, and it 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 consumed itself of importance that people come there to spend money. So it's a magnet because it's oh, this is where the rich live. No, this is where people come in to consume goods. There's no income tax there. No income tax. So what money you make is yours if you live there. And again, Prince Albert decides who can get residency and citizenship of Monaco. And at minimum, you have to have uh, liquid assets of $1 million that must stay in your bank account, a must. So how they get you there in Monaco is is to lure you in. So, wow, I don't have to pay income tax. Great. So what happens? Because you feel you're saving money from the man, you start to indulge in luxuries. So they have all these stores, high-end stores, and cafes, and so people just spend money all day. They have disco clubs, and so this is to attract more people with money because they want to associate with other rich people. Everybody is there to because they want to meet people and in hope of getting rich themselves. So this is where the illusion comes in, the illusion of wealth. And Hollywood kind of acts the same way. People get in the Hollywood industry. It's a big industry. You have people in front of the camera and behind the camera, and both make a lot of money off of the industry of illusion and the inclusion. What else about it? What I noticed? Yeah, I noticed. Yeah, they talked about the women. Yeah, when they show the camera, they get the camera crew and they start filming Monaco. Yeah, it's supposed to be a city of discretion, and I think it's like a law a law or something that you're not supposed to um, don't videotape people, their face. You don't do that because it's a place of anonymity. Like what else is like that with anonymity? Las Vegas. What happens in Las Vegas? Gambling and brothels. Gambling and brothels. And what initially created Monaco? A gambling casino called with a Contemonto, something like that. Monte Carlo. Monte Carlo. Yeah. Monte Carlo. A gambling casino. Almost like a legitimacy to attract risk takers. You're a gambler, you're a risk taker. Yeah? In both places, what happens in Las Vegas stays in Las Vegas. So what happens in Monte Carlo? The same thing. But one is considered respectable because these are initially what see people know Monaco from the 1950s era when Prince Rainier and Princess Grace got married. And so they had a fairy tale wedding. She looked absolutely beautiful, and he was wearing his uniform with medals He looked very distinguished. So this increased the value of the place, the illusion of value of the place. But they needed the money. They had the prestige, but they didn't have money. So this attracted money from all over the world. Give them a incentive of you don't have to pay tax. So okay, we don't need your income tax money because we're gonna make it so that you spend more than you make. Did you know that you have people they spend more than they make? They spend more than they make just to get popularity. Oh yeah, so back with the girls of Monte Carlo. I mean of Monaco. They were interviewing a man, and he's talking about the principality of Monaco, and he said most of the people here, the guys here, they're not happy. The people there are not happy, which I was very surprised. I wanted to hear more, of course. Um, they didn't want. I'm sorry. They see the super rich or the people who want to be thought of being rich have big egos. They're playing a game of Monopoly. It's a game of Monopoly. Make people think you're powerful and just buy everything. And what do you do once you have everything? That's where the depression comes in. And that the illusion cannot really fix. The illusion, it's like a hook. And the fish bites into the hook and they get caught. So before the fish was just nibbling around the hook, eating the bait, and then boom, it gets caught. And like Miss USA, who um, died a little over a week ago today, just over a week, she did what she did. My heart goes out to her. She realized, I think, the illusion of wealth and popularity, but she didn't fit in. Yeah, she was too intelligent for that, but she got fooled. I think that's my interpretation. I feel very badly for her. She was only in the game for 2 years, and with the pandemic, it just made things worse. She couldn't really go out there because no one could meet anymore. So here she's Miss USA of 2019, then then the virus hit in 2020, and nothing to do with your popularity, nothing to do. She did do a little television, um, but nothing really. And I think, you know, all that and other things probably, um, she had enough. But anyways, so the women, yes, it was sad, Crystal. It's very sad, very, very sad. It can happen to anyone. And yet you heard throughout Hollywood, um, like Chico and the Man, that guy that played Chico. Yeah, he was like the first, I think he was Puerto Rican, first Hispanic on mainstream TV. And one day he said, "Hey, you want to see something?" He puts a gun to his head and he pulls it, and he died. He couldn't take it. He was getting popular, getting money, and he just this not back then there wasn't a lot of Hispanics on mainstream white TV, and he just couldn't take it. Yeah, oh yeah, the question of yeah, but and other celebrities, they're from maybe quiet little towns. Yeah, a lot of these actors and actresses, they're from like the Midwest. Yeah, Freddie. Yeah, 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 yeah. That's the name. That's the name. That's the name. Yeah, you just don't fit, and it happens so fast, and Hollywood is evil. It's evil, but they lure you in, like Monaco. They lure you in. People from all over the world go and visit just to say, I visited Monte Carlo. I mean, that I visited Monaco. You know how many people probably lost their money at the gambling casino in Monte Carlo? Those places are designed for the house to win, not you. So it's gobbling people's money. See, they're clever. So Monaco is clever in how it gets money, how it traps you. You get into gambling debt. So again, getting back to the women again, um, yeah, they were saying that he said when he looks around in Monaco, most of the people are depressed. So the interviewer wanted him to elaborate. He said the men here, you have the super wealthy, and they have all these young girls around them. Well, where did they get these girls from? Because where did they get these young ass girls? They're skinny. The super wealthy like skinny girls, very skinny girls, skinny white girls, and I'm wondering who how do they get money? I mean, like see again the it's a playground now, and people are playing a game, and you think it's all real. And I was asking myself, wow, these look like young people. How did they get could afford to play over there? How could they afford to even buy a bowl of soup? I mean, it's expensive. Everything there is catering to the super wealthy. And but then you got these young girls with these guys. How do they do it? Well, they said a lot of these girls, get this. When they said, I said, oh, that's what they are. A lot of these girls are from Ukraine and Russia. On the internet, there's we call dating places from what they call exotic girls from faraway places like Russia and Ukraine. Those are some poor ass places. The bulk of those people that live in those countries, especially Ukraine, are Poorville, former Soviet Union, part of the former Soviet Union. And the money, there's no money there. I mean, yes, of course, you have the mafia that has businesses in those places that run everything, but it's the have and have nots. One thing about Eastern Europe, they're savvy, they're survivorists. Under the communist regime, boy, they are surviving. They're very tenacious. Um, and they have school there. You can have somebody with a doctorate in the Soviet, what do we call it, the former Soviet Union, doctorate, let's say in physics, chemistry, but there's no jobs, no businesses there. They're starving. I guess maybe food might be rationed, right? Remember, under the communism, they rationed food, food lined. Did you get your food coupon? You have to wait on a long line to get your food. They were doing the same thing in Cuba. Yeah, and so they're trying to put communism here in America. It's not going to work, people. See, they're going to use the poor here in America to try to convince you that we need a change and, the socialism is the way to go. No, socialism, how they want to form it, is to put you in poverty. Communism robs you of creativity and spontaneity of entrepreneurship. Yeah, because if it really worked, Russia and the Ukraine would be doing very well, and they wouldn't have to require their women to go on a website to date them. It's part of prostitution. It's a glamorized prostitution ring, and they use the poor white girls of those lands. So they have an education. Again, a lot of these people, the women, have college degrees. I have a college degree too. I don't have a doctorate. I do have my master's degree in nutrition, and look how well it served me. Not well at all. So again, yeah, I talked about that also in the past video, that college degrees are part of the illusion too. It's to get you to spend money in the hopes that when you get your degree, that you'll be so valuable, and people want to hire you and give you uh, a lot of money. That is a lie. Some people it does work for. They'll let some people in and make some money. Some money. Okay. But it's a racket. Universities is a racket. See, before the racket only included just a little bit of people. Most people are poor on the planet. Most people, regardless of race, are poor. And only a few are in there. Or maybe they even have the illusion of being rich. But it just seems to build on itself, the illusion of wealth. So anyway, um, these these are call girls, but they're smart enough though to they learned how to play the game. They learned how to play the skinny white girl who's on the arm of an older wealthy man. They learn it. I wonder what schools they go to learn how to act rich. Is that what they call the finishing schools of Europe is all about? The finishing schools of Europe, it's in primarily in Switzerland, and that's where the people who actually are princesses go to, like Princess Diane. She went to a finishing school. They teach you certain things and then you leave. So it's like a, I don't want to say like an initiation, but it's something to prep you so that it's to educate you how you are to act. Think of it, maybe it's like an acting school, so to speak. It's to teach the girls how to act in public and in social situations so they don't embarrass anybody who has money. Because again, the woman, even still today, women are primarily used to allure people with money. Men in general make more money than women. Okay, right? Men in general make more money than women. Remember, women get pregnant and you can't work really. You have to breastfeed your kid. The mechanics of a woman is different than a man. And it's that different that creates a different gameplay in this game of Monopoly. This is a Monopoly game. And they have to learn how to play it. They set it up, the game of Monopoly, of different regions in the world, so to speak. Think of the world as a Monopoly game. And it makes a difference if you get pregnant. You think you're going to climb up a scaffold, if you're 9 months pregnant? You go 4. There's certain limitations on the body when there's difference between the bodies of a man and woman. And it's not being sexist. It's not. It's being real. all this modern convenience like what do you call it? Baby formula. That was formulated, that was put on the market when? The 1960s and 70s. Women stayed at home and breastfed their kids. And they breastfed them something could be like until the kid is 2. They breastfed them. So how the hell are you going to go out there with an office job? They introduced formula because now after the war, women started to be required to work outside of the home because now after the war, people were being again allured the money. See, after World War II, people were tired. People wanted to forget the war, and people just wanted wealth. And so they had all this entrepreneurship, people who wanted to work hard and get the American dream. And now you had television. Television was introduced in the 1950s. So all these commercials started coming out. And soap operas. Soap operas were designed for women and to introduce products for women to buy at home. Thus, soap operas had soap things on cleansers, laundry detergents, appliances like a washer and dryer. Back in the 1960s, my family had we didn't have initially a dryer. We hung our clothes out to dry on a inside, not outside. But we hung our clothes to dry in the house. There was a washer. Yeah, I think there was a washer, but no dryer. And then the dryer came in. Yeah, many families. Yeah, these appliances came in the 1950s and 60s. Consumables. And to afford that, women now had to work outside of the home. So how's a woman going to work outside of the home if she got to breastfeed her kid? Formula, baby formula. Doesn't that make a difference in the game playing? Now women aren't even having babies. Now it went too far. Now by the time the woman is interested in starting a family, because now it takes longer and longer for you to get to a level where you could go out on your own. She's in her 30s and 40s. To be a first time mom, it's very difficult. See, it's not as difficult. Let's say you start having kids in your early 20s. You can still, it's no real problem when you're in the 30s if you already had babies. But to be a first time pregnant mom at 30 something and 40 is difficult. And a lot of these actresses are waiting too long. Don't you notice at a certain age, well, you know the actresses, I don't have to give by name. Don't you notice that it always seems like they have twins? Because they use artificial insemination. So they at least implant two in there because one may not take. So oftentimes it does take, and they get to the twins. Hello, hello, people. So the so the illusion there affects other things in society. The illusion of having money takes longer and longer to acquire the money that you want to have, and enough of it so that you can play reckless with it. Takes longer now because now it's a technological society. Requires, knowing how to use computers, and everything is mechanical, electrical, and it requires training. So you're in your 30s by the time you learn what you need to learn to move out of your parents' home. Oh, so again, going back, so these are Russian and Ukrainian women. Now they might have their education, but why are they poor? But you get a Russian or a Ukrainian person with the drive, because it's cold up there too. It's very cold, the weather. And you give them the opportunity to come to the United States, um, or other places, or Monaco. The opportunities. Well, I think first to go to the US or Canada, and then to go to those playgrounds to show off their money. And the women, um, they want to leave the Ukraine and Russia because they have their smarts, but there's no industry there, nothing there. It's oppressive. And so they put these ads in these dating things, and they know how to market themselves, these ladies. This is prostitution, people. I'm calling it what it is. See, we don't want to call it for what it is. It's prostitution, or the hopes of getting married. So they've learned, I don't know where they learn, because I don't think there's any finishing schools in Ukraine or Russia. They have to go to Switzerland for those finishing schools for ladies to teach them the social etiquettes of the wealthy, of the prestige, and of royalty. And the men with this nouveau money, or the old guard, let's say, they got a divorce and they're in their 50s and 60s, and what do these men want? Well, they're not ready to stop playing the game. They're reaching for a time of power and sense of youth. So what do? They want to get a young woman so they can continue playing the game of Monopoly, that everything's fine. So they go on these websites with these European women with these exotic names, and they hook up. He sends her a ticket, um, and she leaves home. She may even have children herself. And she gets to Monaco, and she does what's required of her, and she provides the fantasy. So here, she may have a doctorate degree, she's intelligent, but she poor. But here in Monaco, she can fulfill the fantasy of a wealthy man. And according to the documentary, these relationships don't last long. And they leave, the girls leave. Yes, they do. So it reminded me, that story kind of reminded me of when I lived in Hawaii. I used to live in the island of Maui. And, again, I'm saying these things. My intent is not to shame, it's sharing my experience and asking questions. Because, see, I thought when you go to college, you be rich and have all these opportunity, right? I thought it was the lack of having a college in your town was what made people poor. Well, those people in the Ukraine and Russia, they have colleges, but why they're poor? And I saw the same thing in Hawaii. Now, Hawaii, I have to clarify a little better in Hawaii what I'm really getting at. Okay, now I'm from New York City, and in New York City we have a lot of colleges, and we have people primarily from East Asia, and somehow many of the immigrants from East Asia are somehow able to go to and get accepted into these Ivy League schools. The top of the top get in, And oftentimes, the top of those prestigious universities are from students from Eastern Europe. I'm sorry, from East Asia, excuse me. I meant to say East Asia. But a lot of the people in East Asia are poor. They show pictures of Korea. They have no electricity or running water in their homes. The sewerage is right in front of their door. It runs down a little groove on the street, and people's waste is right there. Now, these are smart people, just like people from Ukraine and Russia. They're intelligent. Um, I'm sure they might have schools there, something there, but it's in utmost in American comparison. In American comparison, I'm talking about people. They are considered extremely poor striking, but they whatever little monies they get, they save. They learned how to save, and they get their ticket to come to America, and they use the discipline that they learned in their old country, the discipline of getting up early, studying, doing the work, saving money, sacrifice. They do all that formula, get the kids in the top schools, and learn the um, occupations that can draw the money, which is technology and science. And what companies are hiring these people? These high technology companies, prestigious companies, new companies, flourishing companies. So what happens? So that's what's happening. So people start even saying that if you're East Asian, they're in there because they're East Asian, because they're intelligent. The people from Asia are intelligent people. That's what they said. That's what they said growing up. When I was growing up, that's what I was being told. That I was even told that their language is scientific, and that's why they're able to do well in school because they have a scientific language. And this is what an educator told me. Yeah, someone who was in a college, ran it, not college, ran a school, a high school. And I just felt uncomfortable with it. Well, how could a language be more scientific than another language? A language is a language. And if it's the language that makes them intelligent, then how come in their old country in East Asia, how come it's not working for them there? Why isn't it working for them there? Why are they poor there? Why is it despair there? But they come here and somehow it just like magic. So that's the environment I came from in New York City with the universities, the colleges, and who's getting in them, who's being accepted. So in Hawaii now, in comparison, there's a lot of people of Asian ancestry. I've met people from a Japanese ancestry, and they were farmers on that island on Maui, but they were poor. They were poor farmers. And I had the opportunity to meet them. They were really nice people, very humble, and they got their house. They lived in a shack. I mean, this is modern day Hawaii. When I lived there, again, I moved from away from there 20 years ago, but I met them about 21 years ago, and they lived in a shack. The father had passed away in the shack. They called the ambulance, and I think the fire truck came. I don't see like when you call some number, it was no fire, but for whatever reason, the fire truck had to come to the scene, or something like something like that. And when they saw the building they lived in, they had it, what do you call it, toppled over. I kid you not, people. And they brought me there. When I met them, they wanted to show me and another friend where they had lived, and that they used to be farmers on this land. Um, they were the owners of that land allowed the family to live there. They didn't have to pay rent, but they had to pay their water bill or some arrangement. Yeah. So even though they didn't have to really pay to live there, there's no money. There was no money. They had opportunity to school. They had high school, but Povertyville, and these were people from of Japanese heritage, but opportunity and culture. I mean, these were the the working class of Japan. But again, in Japan, they do a lot of farming. It's once I really got into office work, like working the businesses. They're the ones that flourish in Hawaii, but not the ones who stayed farmers. You stayed farmer at you Povertyville, and there are other people from Asia, and the same thing. Um, they're not racing to go to college there. They're not trying to be competitive, um, to get into these colleges. So there are high schools and things like that, and they're being dumbed down in Hawaii. And here you have people of East Asian ancestry. Some of them are new arrivals, and how they act, dress, um, like you know, like what it is. See, the industry in Hawaii is service oriented. You don't need someone with a PhD to say aloha, to serve you food, to clean your room in the hotels. See, it's a tourist driven location. So you're in the hospitality industry. If you own the building, the mega size hotels, they're the ones that making money. Lawyers also make money there. I met a girl. She was Japanese Mexican mix. Yeah, you have a lot of mixing in Hawaii. Yeah, her father was a lawyer. I guess a business or some industry, and he was making money, and she was miserable. She was the poor rich girl. She was like 18 years old when I met her. Yeah, and she was troubled, deeply troubled. And she taught me. I'm sorry. She told me her dream, and I was able to interpret it for her. It was a warning. Yeah, people, dreams do talk to you. Oh, it's going to be sunrise soon. Yet sunrise yesterday was at 6:59, so it'll be 6:58. Let me know, people. I left my clock in the other room. So let me know when it's 6:58 a.m. Um, yeah, it's approaching. It's probably after 6. I have a feeling it's around 6:40 or something. What? Yeah, let me know what time it is, people. What time is it? Because I want to welcome the sunrise. That's why. Yeah. So when it's 6:58 a.m. New York City time, let me know so we can welcome sunrise. Yeah. So right now it's dawn of the day. Yeah, this dawn. Dawn and dusk is actually a different look. Yeah. One thing with dawn, it's less lights, and the buildings. Oh, right. Okay, Chris. So 6:50, 6:45. Okay. So a few more minutes. Thank you, Crystal. Yeah. So in a few more minutes, it's going to be 6:58, and I love it. Yeah. So we're going to welcome sunrise, but this is beautiful dawn of the day. Yeah. Aren't the elementals out there? Yeah, that's also why I was leaving. Like, remember last year, I would get up early to walk the dogs, go to Central Park. I was hoping to get to the park and to see any elementals. Yeah, yeah, I'd like to see that. I'd like to really get into the metaphysical world. But anyway, again, I share these things not to harm anyone. You know, yeah, I know for some might think I'm making fun of. I'm not making fun. If you really know my nature, I I'm not about racism. See, I'm about exposing. See, what you hear from my voice is I'm that. See, I believe the lie. I believe the lies. I was raised on television and I was fully indoctrinated, people. But my subconscious was analyzed. I'm very analytical too. I have my artsy side, but also I'm highly analytical. Yeah, I had early traumas in life. And when a young child goes through certain traumas, they become hypersensitive, hyper vigilant, and that's all what's happening. So I'm I could read nuances in situations that most people will not really pay attention to, and so this was one of them. That they use you overanalyze, and that is my big problem. I overanalyze everything, but it's just the way that I'm wired. And again, I care about all people. I care about the hurting. That's who I'm really attracted to, the hurting. I know what it's like to hurt. And so my comparison is not to mock. I'm not about mocking people, but I'm sharing through my experiences things that didn't make sense to me. See, my living, being born and raised in New York City, and then society is telling me, well, you're just not intelligent enough. I'm a black woman. I'm a black woman of mixed ancestry. My grandparents are from the West Indies. And coming to America, even though I'm still classified as a black woman, but there are different cultural differences, different experiences, because my family, my grandparents are from a faraway place. We do not come from the South, like from Georgia, Alabama. And my friends who are from places like there, or grandparents who are from the South, they have a different outlook in life. And these were my neighbors. These were the people I went to school with. So that's all I know. And my growing up, I thought my background was from the South. And at the age of 17 or 18, I discovered for the first time that my background is from the Caribbean. So explained why I might talk a little different than other black New Yorkers, right? And I was often asked why I talk the way I do. People used to make fun of me, but I sound just like my mother. I didn't know any different. I didn't understand. I didn't distinguish us, whether you had a southern accent or this accent. I just because I just was new. But everything seemed different to me. But we were all the same. We all lived and played in the same neighborhood. We went to the same schools. My elementary school was all black. It was a black school. It was when I got into junior high school that it was integrated. Yeah, so I'm 13 years old in junior high school. So, but I was already indoctrinated through this other school, the elementary school. Everybody was black. The teacher were white. Most of the teachers were white in a black neighborhood in Queens, New York City. So, so here now I'm an adult living in the island of Maui and coming from a place like New York City. Okay, so my paradigm was, well, aren't all Asian people intelligent and get high grades and learn how to speak well and all, right? But in Maui, it wasn't like that. These are poor people. They didn't speak with etiquette. They spoke in a dialect um, of a different social economic class. They wore flip flops and shorts. And the only thing that the people there, the Asians in Maui, were being groomed for was being groomed to wait on tables. We're groomed to say aloha to the uh, tourists, to sell merchandise. And that was it. That was it. So I didn't understand. And then I left Maui, came back to New York City about 20 years ago. And now I'm back to the old circle, seeing the poor and the rich. You have those poor neighborhoods that you see in New York City, and then you have the rich neighborhoods in New York City. And who again do you see in those schools? People from Asia, primarily East Asia and also South Asia. There's not a lot of South Asians in Maui. I met one vacationer from. I'm sorry, I said South Maui. I meant to say South Asia. Only met one vacationer from South Asian ancestry, and that was it. So now I'm back to New York City, back to the old game of who gets into the schools, the top schools, or who doesn't. So the same type of people that live in New York City that's doing, getting all these job prospects in technology and stuff like that were the same type of people in Maui who don't have a pot to piss in. So this is again the illusion of money, the wealthy and the poor. And a place like Monaco, you have the women from Russia and Ukraine, and they go on those websites and entice the white men or those the newer money are the Arabs that sell the oil, and they got a different game. So why, I'm gonna put it out there. It's just really food for thought. So if these white girls, poor white girls from the Ukraine and Russia, and many of them have their multiple college degrees, and they cannot seem to make it work for them there in their native land, why? I mean, how is, what is the formula that's missing? What is the formula that these women from the Ukraine, what are they missing that they can't make it work there? Why is that you have a lot of poor people here in New York City? Why aren't the blacks thriving in New York City if the formula, if you have people from other countries that are coming here and they may not even know the English language and they can ace an exam, what's happening with us? Well, the game of Monopoly here in New York City, um, They don't want you to play the game. And so they set up rules and boundaries and laws against you. They say you can't play the game of Monopoly here. You're not allowed. We're going to put stress on you people. We're going to put stress on your children. We're going to have television now, which is a social engineer mechanism, apparatus, and we're going to turn it on 24/7. And anytime you see a black face like yours, we're going to have you either robbing someone, stabbing someone, cursing at someone, looking like Mr. Spooky, right? Look like Mr. Spooky. So anytime you go in to maybe want to get a job in this establishment, that establishment, or enter a college, they turn you down. I mean, at least with the jobs. You are considered enemy number one. And so what do? You hang outside on the street feeling depressed, robbing, continue, you fulfill the lie. You fulfill what they lied about you on television, and you became that which they showed you on TV, a criminal. Oh, thank you, Crystal. 6:56, yeah. 6:56. That means 2 more minutes. Thank you, girl. Thank you. I appreciate you. Yeah, and 2 more minutes, people. Yeah, oh, Javis. Javis, why you write like that? What does that mean? That code that you're writing. See that? Those bots? Yeah, that would be an interesting topic to get one of those bots, and interview them why they do what they do in the chat room. Yes, it's approaching that time. Yes, 6:58. Yes, 6:58 is approaching. Oops. Yes, when you hit 6:58, yes, look how cloudy it is. Look how cloudy it is. How beautiful. Yes, good morning, good morning. I think sunrise is about now. Yes, it's that time. It's about that time. Yes, good morning, sunrise. Good morning, sunrise. Even though you're cloudy out there. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Yes, yay! 6:58, yay! Yay, good morning, sunrise. Good morning, sunrise. You're beautiful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, I knew it was hitting. It's approaching soon. Yes, good morning, sunrise. Good morning, Manhattan Island. Good morning, seagull that's flying in the sky. Good morning, elementals. Good morning, peace, love, and prosperity. Good morning, healing powers upon you. Good morning. Thank you so much, Crystal. Thank you so much for sharing that. Yeah, it's important to me. See, this is what's really important, people. Yes, you have people who are learning, who, the game doesn't play fair for you when you go play Monopoly. And you wonder why you trying to dig yourself out the hole. Well, it's not made for you. It's again a part of the illusion. They don't want you to play. They change the rules when you get in there. And you know what else they're playing here in New York City? That you have some of these people from um, Asia. See, the Asians were, at least when you look at the incoming, like the residences. Yeah, I was given a picture of the residences, for the doctors, and predominantly most of them were from Asia in the medical schools, and very few were even of the black race. And those blacks that they have were from other countries. So yeah, it's by design, and it's by design where you live, and it's by design what you do and how you act, how you feel about yourself. If you think you're rich and you know how to play the game, then you are rich and could possibly play, be accepted in this circle. Yes, so you have the nouveau rich, the people from the Middle East are playing hard. And they would say just because someone is rich doesn't mean that they're accepted. You hear that, people? Who are they referring to? They're referring to those people from the Middle East. They can play even harder because they have constant money. Because, see, we're dependent on oil. We're dependent on oil. But now you notice they're hybridizing everything. They're hybridizing everything, the cars. So they don't need as much oil. And the Arab nations who have the oil, they know this. So they play smart. See, I admire uh, intelligence, even though it's almost like almost this almost crafty. But they're using their wisdom. What's happening is that they're diversifying people. They're diversifying. They are formulating these playgrounds for the nouveau rich, or for this technology and the what do you call it? The cyber world. Yeah, I did share with you the other day that in Monaco they're sharing. I mean, they're celebrating what they call the influencers of social media, and they have a contest with the top influencers around the planet. Who's going to be the number one influencer of Monaco? Yeah, new category, and it was initiated the young children. I guess it was an official of Monaco. I mean, not Prince Albert's family, but some very wealthy person in Monaco. They had two little kids, like teenagers, young teens, and the mother, and they presented this thing to the father to initiate in Monaco. Because now they have the young generation, the cyber world generation that is quickly becoming millionaires overnight. See, right now the rich tycoons are in their 30s and 40s. Primarily the oil people, the oil nations. But now it's the cyber world. So now they're like in their 20s. People, do you see what's happening? The rich are getting richer sooner, but they're not happier. And they're even more. Could you imagine? Okay, I already told you earlier, they showed the kids of the oil people with their cars that are worth $100,000, $200,000 on the road. They have a powerful engine, but you can't go anywhere really because it's always a twist and turn on the road. It's a small, congested place, Monaco, right? They're reckless, but it's happened. So these people, like in their 30s and 40s. Now, could you imagine the mindset of a 20-something-year-old multi-millionaire? That's being introduced to Monaco. See, that Hollywood is behind it. Social media, Hollywood, they go hand in hand. They feed each other. They feed each other. And it's rampant. It's really something when you watch these programs. And it's what's weird, people, is that I would be watching. But inside, I don't feel good. I don't. It's like my curiosity. So I'm human like everybody else. But what I'm looking at, I'm looking through the eyes of someone who knows that something is up. I've had opportunities to live in different locations. I even used to work at a resort, and saw what the wannabe rich acted like at this resort. Um, I've had the opportunity in the military to go to the French Riviera. I was there. I mean, not in Monaco, but I was in Nice, which was right next door to Monaco. And I just said, what makes this place better? The French Riviera has small beaches. Small like the depth, like it might be long, but the depth of the beach, the sand, it's very small. And you're right, when you're lying down, you have cars right behind you. I wouldn't want to lie on the sand and these cars racing past my head. You go to one of the big beaches like Far Rockaway Beach. Your Far Rockaway Beach in Queens, they have a new boardwalk. A long, 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 long boardwalk. Now, why don't they develop there? Why can't we have the New York Riviera? The New York Riviera. Yeah, it's a massive beach. It's a powerful, so you can go surfing. It's real windy and the waters are real rough. Why doesn't it attract the wealthy like that? Why can't, um, what do you call it, Far Rockaway, Queens, be the new French Riviera of New York City? It has prime real estate, but it has black people. Sorry. I used to live in Far Rockaway, Queens, up to the age of 4, and then we moved to Hollis, Queens, in a house. Yeah, Far Rockaway is where what we call it the projects, but it's affordable housing. The apartment units, and when our family moved in there, um, about 61 years ago, it was brand new. It was only 2 years old, the buildings. 2 years old, that's nothing. The projects back then were made after the war for families just starting out in life. And you had whites that were there. Oh, yes, white people lived there. You stay there for a short time and then you move to a house in a residential area, private houses. And that's what my family did. But the people who stayed there, crime like you wouldn't believe. Am I lying, Crystal? Am I lying about these places? Yeah, it is supposed to be such a high crime area now, Far Rockaway, Queens. Very, very violent. But a lot of violence that are there. And I went to visit. I did go visit the building, and I shared that on my channel. I went there several times. I think the first time I went, it could have been something in 20, yeah, because I had cut my hair. Yeah, it could have been in 2014. Yeah, I had real short hair there. I think it was 20, yeah, 2014. Yeah, because I cut my hair in April of 2014 and it started growing. Yeah, yeah, 2014. I cut my hair so I went to the beach. And yeah, I showed my picture of me at the beach and other places around where I was born. I lived there up to the age of 4, going on 5, and then we moved to a house. And, oh, what else? Oh, yeah, so why isn't it working? What is wrong with this water here? If everything is equal, people, I'm sharing this thing to open your thinking. I'm not here to insult anybody. I'm just saying these things to get you thinking. Now, the water in the French Riviera is no more beautiful than the water in Queens, Far Rockaway Beach. The beaches are bigger. I mean, massive beaches. And there's no industry there. It is like a cancer. It's just dying. It's horrible. And then you have pockets along near Far Rockaway for where a certain demographics lives, and they're doing very well. But somehow, you're not doing well. Why aren't blacks doing well there? But you have new people from uh, Eastern Europe that are moving around the area, and somehow they get catered to. Somehow there's no crime there, but there's crime in your neighborhood. Why aren't they develop using this um developing this beachfront? It's beautiful. New York City doesn't focus on its water. Yeah, like I live on Manhattan. It's an island, and we're surrounded by two rivers, the East River and the Hudson River. And all along there, they really don't want to develop it. Everything's in the interior of the island. All the buildings is downtown and midtown. Like that's it. Yeah, this you can have water sports and all these things, but they don't want you. See, New York City is really like remember with Louisiana when they had that flood. What do you call it? Hurricane. What was that? Hurricane something. It happened around 2006 when the levees of Louisiana, you know, what do you call it? New Orleans flooded big time. Yeah. So yeah, it's not being developed. I forgot why I'm sorry. I forgot why I mentioned about Louisiana and the flood there. I forget, but you have two major rivers and you could develop it, but they don't want to. They don't want to. They want you dependent on a particular industry. So Manhattan is about, I mean, you have the tourism. You do have the tourism in Manhattan, big time. They go to the Broadway shows. That brings in a lot of money. And you have banking. That I would say those are two. You have banking, tourism with the what do you call it, the theater. Or you also have publishing also. You have publishing, but they're not interested in beaches and luxury. I mean, it would be fantastic. But see, they don't. Yeah, but oh yeah, I remember with the Chocolate City. Yeah, remember in Louisiana in 2006 they had that big flood. They had a hurricane there, it hit it really bad, and there is a black mayor of New Orleans, and he was the people really feeling bad about themselves, and um, the mayor I think he left. Yeah, I don't blame him. A hurricane's going to hit you, get out of there. And then he came back, and the people felt abandoned. The black folk felt abandoned that he left them alone, and during a crisis. And he said, that he tried to encourage the people there that stayed behind. And he says, this is you call it a chocolate city. He said, this is a chocolate city, blah blah blah. Well, New York City is a chocolate city. Yeah, maybe some people would rather say caramel city. Okay, let's to call it the caramel crunch, the caramel crunch city, with chocolate chips in there. Okay, we could call it that. Caramel crunch with chocolate sprinkles. Yeah. And so they want to keep it a certain way for whatever reason. They want to dumbify you. Um, I don't know. I mean, I love my city. Yeah, this is like a caramel chocolate crunch. I love this city. But we got it. Oh, and you know, now we got a black mayor. My goodness. I'm waiting for him to say this is a chocolate city. I hope you know, please don't take me too seriously. You know, you have to also laugh about it too, people. See, they're playing games. Yeah, and that's what politics does. When things get really bad, that's when they either get a black mayor or governor, no, a black mayor or a female, female higher up. Yeah, just look what happened into Germany. They have a female leader there, and look what's happening in Germany now. Oh God, it's spooky, spooky. Yeah, and I'm not trying to shame women. I'm a woman. I am a genetic female, and I care about what happens to women. But I'll share what I see, what's going on. It's not I'm not lying. I'm exposing. And right now we got a black mayor for the second time. Dinkins was the first one. David Dinkins was the first black mayor of New York City. And people are already saying bad things about our current mayor. You know, I really haven't really followed him. He just got into office last month, January. I really don't know much about him, but you know, he is from South Jamaica, Queens, right near where I'm from, where I was raised. Yeah, and he has the power to try to transform, but he's not there to transform New York City. He's there for the status quo until they get somebody else. That's it. Yeah, it's not going to get better here in New York City. He's the temporary bandit because, see, they haven't decided on how, you know, the next stage. Remember yesterday, people. Oh, wait a minute, let me finish this point here. With so my contrast between the rich and the poor, and, you know, that everything is the same but different. You can live right here in New York City, follow a formula of greatness, but the cards are against you. It's not your fault completely. You think the Asians in Maui, Hawaii, is any dumber than the Asians living in New York City? They're the same people. So why is one location um, getting into the fancy high-rise apartments and the others are living in where they're living in squalor? They're the same people. They have the same intelligence. They have the same language. That's the part of the illusion part. That's controlling the situation. They could lull you. The people in Hawaii are being lulled to sleep. They don't need someone with a doctorate to have them say hello to the tourists. But in New York City, okay, you have millions of people and you have a growing industry, and it requires technological skills to build upon here. That's what seems to oops sorry. That's what seems to run here. You need a savviness, a tenacity, and you know you don't see New Yorkers saying hello to each other or hugging each other. Here is dog eat dog. Ruff ruff. Rough, rough. Yeah, this is a dog eat dog uh, demographic, domain. I think it's always been that way. New York City. It's a very cutthroat, and you have a lot of energies here in New York City, and it's causing a lot of this strife. Yeah. So I'm just trying to say, people, that a lot of things that you see in life is created for a reason of control. And maybe places like Queens, New York City, and Far Rockaway, Queens, that maybe it's being held, okay, people, maybe it's being held out for a reason, for other enterprise to happen there. It is prime real estate. Am I speaking the truth, people? Those people who are from New York City, and you know what I'm talking about. Don't you ever wonder why one location is being used for one thing? Like you have Lido Beach, which is caters to or the Hamptons Beach. It caters to rich white people or wannabes. And then the beach, like Far Rockaway Beach, is for the poor. But actually, Far Rockaway Beach is far beautiful. It's bigger in all dimensions, but yet it's not being um, developed. Could it be the ley lines? Maybe there's no ley line there. You know, a lot of times cities are built on ley lines. Maybe this specific area, maybe there's no ley lines there, and so they don't want to develop. Or maybe it's being held on to until a later date. There's no logical reason why they're not developing Far Rockaway, Queens. It is beautiful. It's real breezy. Yeah, there's no real enterprise there. I mean, I was there until the age of 4. I'm 59 right now. So it's almost 55 years ago, and there's no development there. Why? Because the system doesn't want you to have it there for whatever reason. See, that's the real secret about the illusions, what produces the boundaries between the rich and the poor, and the illusion. And it's like how do you call it? Like think of it like a pressure. Like they build up the pressure like a place like Monaco. And the pressure increases its value, the illusional value of that place. And more and more and more and more people want to go there, party there, play there. And now they're introducing what I call what they say um, influencers, referring to the people on social media like YouTube. Oops, sorry. Yeah, I'm running low on batteries here, so I'm gonna try to make this quick. Yeah. So let me try to finish up. So there's something on the outside that is encouraging certain domains to do this type of commerce, and it's about energy. Commerce and energy go hand in hand. And I think these areas are pocket areas where they have a ley line, and the ley line increases the intensity of this extraction of wealth slash money slash energy. But in areas, it could be slightly off the grid, like Far Rockaway, Queens, even though it has everything going for it, but it's not being utilized for a reason. So they're not going to invest in pumping up that energy gradient to create a wealth, to create a French Riviera of New York City. They're not going to do it. And so I'm wondering, yesterday, Crystal, I had I felt embarrassed about the vision. I did have a vision yesterday morning, and I was too embarrassed, or I just felt funny about it. And I didn't even bother doing a live stream early morning yesterday, but I did it in the evening. And I had a vision with I know it sounds crazy, Crystal. Oops, sorry. I saw a vision of, there was there were at least five adults standing in some type of room. It was dimly lit. Well, it's one of those characters that really stood out. I saw it was I feel so awkward saying it again, but I saw the you know what David Icke talked about the reptile people. I saw it. Those girl, that is real. It was standing wearing a red cloak or cape, like the movie Eyes Wide Shut. Remember the movie Eyes Wide Shut with uh, Tom Cruise? It has a hood and then the red cape, goes all the way down. Well, one of the people was a that lizard face. It had a long snout. It was real dark. It was dimly lit, but you could tell it was very dark. Had a big frame, big, and their cape fitted him very snug. And you see a giant snout. Oh my goodness. Well, why I mention it right here is that I'm speculating. Again, I don't know. I've never experienced that before. Never experienced seeing that before. Well, I think there are rituals being done. He was the only one. It looked like a male. Again, he was all covered, but it looked like a male to me. You saw part of his chest. Big, big, big. And I think all the others were male, and they're all wearing capes, but they were wearing different colors. He was the only one wearing red. It was a dark red. Yeah, even though it was dimly lit in the room, but you could still tell the color of the cape or cloak, whatever you call it, like in the movie Eyes Wide Shut. So those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, the movie Eyes Wide Shut, just Google it or go on YouTube, Eyes Wide Shut, and you're going to see the type of cape, and that's what they were wearing, like in a ritual. I speculate that something is going to be done in the very near future, and somehow in my early morning vision, that I was allowed to see what I saw, and that I could only speculate why they were there. I mean, it only lasted for a couple of seconds, just seconds, people. And that's all I saw them standing. They weren't doing anything, they weren't saying anything, but I just saw this for a moment, a couple of seconds. And this could mean that something is being worked on behind the scenes in the next phase in this pandemic, because they're being found out. People are getting fed up. People are starting to fight back because of this pandemic and lockdown. They don't like it. They don't like it. The people are getting angry. And so they might be thinking the next phase. Because remember, I was told in a video once, they were discussing about these beings, and that there's a hierarchy. It was saying, it was a YouTuber that researches about the secret space program, super soldiers. And you remember a lot of these people in that genre talk about these lizard people or the draconians, and that it's the dragonians. The hierarchy could be like you have a regular person, you have the grays, and then you might have a human in that, like a human hybrid, or what do you call it? Yeah, They look like humans, but it's the grays that are on top of those humans. They run the show. They run the show. Yeah, you have all different beings out there, or what do you call those? Or what do you call the Nordics? The Nordics aren't in control. Yet the media often talks about the Nordics, those tall, light, you know, light color haired people, but they don't run the show. The draconian, the people that look like the dragon, like a lizard or a reptile, they run the show. And in the vision that I saw, he was the only one wearing the red cape. The others were wearing darker colors. Um, he just stood out. He stood out. Yeah. So something is brewing. So, hold on your seats. Don't be deceived. You have yourself. Love yourself. Yeah, these hierarchies, they're always playing each other off, the rich and the poor, and they have you fighting for power. This is because they want to get, like in the Matrix, they want to create that gradient difference to extract more energy. So they create the illusions of wealth and poverty to increase the tension between these groups. They're also using race, they're using gender as an excuse to cause the fighting. But don't believe the hype. Don't believe it. Don't believe it. Love what you have. I don't need to live in Monaco. I have a beautiful apartment. I don't need a Mercedes. I have my feet. I can walk. Thank God I can walk, people. I have feet that I can walk. I have my health. You don't need men. You don't need to put some skinny woman from these poor countries in Europe or Asia or Africa or Latin America or North America. You don't need to do that. Love yourself. Value yourself. You don't need a gold digger. You're plenty in yourself. You're enough for you. Enjoy you. If you have money, enjoy it. Share it. But don't be scammed by these women. They're prostitutes. And you fall for it. And the documentary shared that these men, they're losing these women fast, and they're all depressed in Monaco. See, this is part of the illusion. And that Miss USA, I think, fell into the trap of the illusion, and she got disillusioned. You have you. Love yourself. Look at me, I have my little doggies here. They love mommy. Yeah, I have them in my life. Start enjoying you. Start enjoying the reality of who you are. Hug yourself when you get up in the morning. Tell yourself you love yourself. Do meditation. Try to do the meditation and get centered. And when I say this, I'm talking to myself too. I need to do this more and more. I can slip into a false, the illusion also, because it gets convincing sometimes. But today, say to yourself, I love myself, and that you are enough. Instruct your children to respect wealth, or it will consume them, and instant poverty can knock at your door. Yes. Okay. I thank you all for listening, and I hope I made sense of what's going on. Let me see if anyone wrote anything before I go. Yeah. So wake up. Their wake up, yeah. Their wake up call, yeah. Katrina, that's right, Katrina. Yeah, Katrina. Yeah, don't believe the hype, people. That's all I'm trying to say. Don't believe the illusions of wealth and yeah, you're not doing anything different. So someone could be rich in America, the same people in Russia and Ukraine, they can't put food on their table. South Korea, the same people there in South Korea when they moved to the US, they're any different? They're the same people. They do the same thing. They work hard, but in those other locations, they just can't. Oh, I'm so glad you did. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I enjoyed it too. Yeah, good. Chris, we could also talk on the do a what do you call it, the video thing if you want to. Yeah, let me know if you want to talk off screen. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so this iPad I have to charge, but I have my computer in the other room. So we could do a quick hello. You let me know. Yeah. I just felt important to tell you this, guys. Things are happening. You have the magician slash the dragon behind the scene. Yeah, I think that's what the Bible is all about. When they talk about the dragon, they talk about the thing I saw in the vision. Yeah, yep, it's there. It's real, people. The dragon is real. It exists. And they work behind scenes and they work alongside people. David Icke was right. Oh, nice. You're cooking lunch. Very nice. Very nice. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and I have to get up and get my little doggies and myself ready. Yeah. Yeah, let me know when you wanna if you wanna talk. We're gonna do we're gonna a video chat. So I'm gonna be heading off now, getting my day going. Yes, happy sunrise, you New Yorkers and around the world. I hope you enjoyed my message, and I hope I made it clear about the distinction. You're not any worse than anybody else. Things are being socially engineered, and you are not the problem. Okay, enjoy the you. Enjoy you. You are loved. Okay? I thank you again. Peace, love, joy, and harmony be unto you. Until next time, bye bye.